Remember the time when you wanted more. Remember the time when there were people in your life that did not believe in you. Remember the time when you honestly gave up on the possibilities of the uniqueness that you had inside. Remember there was a time that you complained so much, but yet did so little. There comes to a point in your life that you must recognize that there's a little bit more that has to be done than just complaining about it. You have to realize that you don't have any other opportunities waiting for you.
What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy, Gandhi. We're here on 910 Sports TV once again. First and foremost, got to thank God for this opportunity because without Him, it would be no us here to be able to give you these great topics and the great interviews that we give you. So start off always from my right to my left, you know what I'm saying, with the incomparable, you know what I'm saying, greatest coach of all time, Lamont T. Goins. What's going on, family?
Hey man, just glad to be here, man, and just ready to chop it up with none other than Icon E and Jacob the Great.
Yes, sir. And then, yeah, I got my brother from another mother been rocking and rolling. Had a birthday this week. He about 110 years old, I think,
Whoa.
something around that age. You know what I'm saying? But my brother, you know what I'm saying, Jacob the Great, no other than King Jacob, your baby mama's favorite host. What's going on, fam?
Well, man, you know it's Gemini season, so I'm cutting up and talking trash.
Yeah, all right.
But
I already
but
know.
but
'Cause I got
but, but
Gemini's around you, my daughter, my brother-in-law, my brother. I just got to deal with all y'all crazy folks this
yeah,
month.
man. But man, hey, man, glad to be in the land of the living, man. 51 years around the sun, man. Plenty of lessons and a lot of blessings.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you get it jumped off, whatever. Because I knew you had a topic. I know you got a topic for it. So I'm gonna let you jump it off with the topic today.
Man, I'm sitting here watching Get Up this morning, man, and they start talking about Aaron Rodgers, and I'm like, man, like all these young quarterbacks in the draft and they ain't get one, man, and they want to talk about somebody who got arthritis and fibromyalgia and big toe swell up all the time and can't get along with nobody, man. I'm like that ain't even like the Pittsburgh Steelers organization, man. Like, what is wrong, man, with Mike Tomlin, man? Is something wrong with his mindset, man? Is like what's wrong, man? Like you passed up on Shador, you passed up on Miro, and a few more other quarterbacks, man. But you want to mess with Aaron Rodgers. I guess he gonna get sponsorship with Icy Hot and being gay. I don't know, man.
Hey, uh, hey, all I can say. Go ahead, coach. Go ahead, coach.
Man, you know what? I tell you what, as I sit here as a diehard Steeler fan to my heart, I gotta sit here and I'm gonna let Jacob drive this segment. He's exactly right. I didn't know there was NIL deals in the NFL. Sponsored by Ben Gay and Icy Hot and all that stuff. But I don't understand the Steelers' mentality. When I was sitting there on draft night and they passed on Shador, I was done. I was really done with the season already before we kicked the first one off because I thought the objective was, you know what, to win a Super Bowl every year, and you got to put the right players in the right combination. And Jacob's exactly right. When this guy comes in, I'm speaking of Aaron Rodgers, of course, who can't get along with anybody. He's kind of low, and he's aged out. Can he play a whole season? No. Does he have problems? Yes. And our line's not like it's not like we're running behind he's behind the line like the Cowboys had when they had Emmitt Smith. So Jacob's spot on. What are the Steelers trying to accomplish? What are they trying to do? I don't know, and I don't think they know. And again, it's going to be a tough season. This may be Mike Tomlin's first losing season. I hate to say that. I hope it doesn't happen, but we got problems in the Steel City.
Yeah, I agree. I don't really get what the Steelers are doing. They passed on Shador, and I just knew it when they got the 21st they was gonna get him. And then when he came around the second and third rounds, whatever picks they had then, I thought at some point they were going to get him. And the fact that they didn't get any quarterbacks, I don't think they even got any of one of the young ones, the other young ones. And so I was just like, okay, I was baffled all day of the week. And I'm just like, at the end of the day, you could keep put together these great defensive teams and go get this receiver and that receiver, whatever. Because the one thing about the Steelers, they keep a thoroughbred receiver in the barrel. But at the end of the day, if you don't got nobody to throw the ball to them, then what you doing? You know what I mean? It's like having the bullets without the gun. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what we doing here? So I don't get what the Steelers are doing. I don't get what Mike Tomlin is doing. To be honest with you, I was one of the ones that said that he needs to go and not necessarily leave the NFL, but I think it's time for him to go somewhere else. Sometimes a voice gets old in a one place, and then you get too comfortable. Sometimes it's better in life to be uncomfortable instead of being comfortable, because some people, when they get too comfortable, they get complacent. You know what I mean? They get to the point where it's like, I'm gonna do whatever I want. And you ever been on that job where you went and you be like, dang, everything in here archaic. The computer's old, the phones, everything in here archaic. And you realize the person that's been running it been there for 30 years. So they ain't gonna change because they comfortable. And that's what Mike Tomlin is. He been there for so long, he comfortable. You know what I mean? So what I'm gonna change for? They not gonna fire me. If ain't no pressure for me to win a Super Bowl. It ain't hell. It ain't no pressure for him to win a playoff game, obviously, because they ain't won one since like 2018. So as long as I go 500 or better, I'm good. And that's the way he look at it. You know what I mean? So, hey, I don't know what else to say about it. To be honest with you,
I got one more thing to say about it. I got one more thing to say that somebody gonna have to answer to Metcalf, because believe this, he already asking who is going to be the quarterback, and they ain't got no answer for him.
I mean,
You
they
know what I
talking
mean?
about Kirk Cousins possibly getting traded there. But I mean, that's gonna be another band-aid for a year. You know what I
But
mean? I mean,
but which cousin? The first cousin, the third cousin, or the just removed from my grandma cousin?
hey, ain't no telling what you're gonna get out of first cousin. That's why we call them. That's why we just call them cousin. We don't call them no cousin. We just call them cousin. That's cousin. You remember on Poetic Justice when Tupac and they went out there to the cookout and they're like, "What up, cousin?" That's what he is. He the cousin. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
man.
saying? So, but I do got a topic for us. I do got a topic. Me and my son were talking about this earlier. And they basically at this point after last night's game and what we're seeing in the last the playoffs is that the young boys is coming.
Yep.
So now is it time for LeBron, KD, Steph, who else going to next? Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook? Is it time for them to kind of move out of the way? And they not necessarily saying retire, but maybe take a lesser role on their teams. You know what I mean? Because most of these guys, except for maybe Russell Westbrook and Chris Paul, the other ones are still looked at the number one guy. Kevin Durant, Steph, and LeBron still look at number one guy. Is it time for them to take a step back and allow some of these young boys to take that reign a little bit more? You know what
But
I mean? And
go ahead, Coach. Going. I know you got something
Yeah,
for us.
yeah, but no, and Icon, he's right, and I'm glad he and his son had that conversation. And I don't think these guys can take a lesser role because it's not in their DNA. I think it's time for them to say, okay, you know what, I've paid my dues. I've given the game all I can. Go ahead and hang it up. Just because I don't want to see any one of these gentlemen that you mentioned go down with a career or just some a ugly injury. You know what I mean, tear up a
mhm.
knee. You know what I mean, something. Because when you get the older you get, I mean, Jacob just hit 51. I got shoes that old. But in that, the older you get, the harder you got to deal with those injuries. So I think they just need to go ahead and say, okay, yeah, it's my time, and turn the league over, and go ahead and bow out.
Hmm. Well, you're right, but I will say this: I don't really think LeBron want to be noticed the number one guy. I think just like the whole Russell Westbrook thing, the reason why he campaigned to get him there is so he can take some of the load off himself. But you know, with the LA milkshakers, man, listen, listen, man, They just keep
Professional.
they just keep beating LeBron body down, man. Like,
Yeah.
man, how much can
Yeah,
somebody who's
no.
been in the league since he was 17 take, man? Like, man, like it's crazy, man. How the young boys rely on him so much, and he's 40 years old, and you
Mhm.
guys are 22 and 23, 24 and 25. That's
Yeah,
crazy, man.
It's
yeah.
crazy.
And
It's crazy.
the perfect coach that would have been for LeBron, instead of him going to the Lakers, or that coach that should have came to him, it should have been Popovich. The reason why I say it should have been Popovich, because Popovich would have managed those minutes. He wouldn't have cared what the score of the game would have been, or he would have put enough bench players and tight players around LeBron and role players around LeBron where he could have took a break. He would have understood the assignment. And I think what happened was, between Jeannie Buss, Rob Pelinka, they didn't understand the assignment. Like, you keep bringing all these certain players in, but you're not bringing in, you develop Austin Reeves to eventually be, but it kind of happened by accident for him to be like a playmaker type player for them. That's why you brought Russell Westbrook in, but he really wasn't the type player that you really needed there, or whatever. Because the thing about Russell, what we talked about last week, Russell Westbrook is 100 miles per hour,
Yep.
one speed. You know what I'm saying? LeBron is 80 years old. He don't need that. You know what I mean? So he needed somebody that knew how to pace the game. That's why when they
Right.
had their most successful season was with Rajon Rondo, because Rajon Rondo was a real point guard that understood how to. He knew how to get everybody in their right position. That's why the Celtics. If you think about it, the Celtics would not have won a championship. Everybody talk about Chris Paul and KG and all these guys, Ray Allen. They wouldn't have won a championship without Rondo,
There you
because
go.
Rondo put everybody in their right position. Rondo knew where everybody liked to like the ball or whatever. So when Rondo was there with LeBron, he understood the assignment of, when to get when to let LeBron take over, and when I need to control the game. And if you notice in the fourth quarter, it was Rondo that was controlling the pieces on the board, and getting a ball where LeBron needed, or getting an alley to Dwight Howard or whoever, getting Kuzma, whoever involved. And so I think at this point, without and think that with JJ Redick, he's still learning on the job.
Yeah.
So he still got to learn from. He still got to lean on LeBron and whatever a little bit, or more, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And because even with Luca is he I don't even necessarily he necessarily the right player to play with LeBron, because he throws everybody's rhythm off because he holds the ball too much. You know what I'm
Man,
saying?
Luca move like a 75-year-old quarterback.
I can't take it. I can't take it tonight. I can't take it tonight. I
You
need
been
a
drinking
hall
tonight,
pass.
man?
I can't, man. What's what is
What
you
you
know
been
what?
drinking tonight?
I don't know, but somebody better check it.
Come on, check Jacob
Check
cup
him.
tonight. He on one tonight.
He is on tonight. But hey, I'll jump in and say this is that I kind of you're spot on, brother. One of the guards I've always said over the since we've been I've joined you guys, but even on shows prior, I always try to tell people Rajon Rondo was very very underrated. Nobody wanted to sit down and realize what he does. What he did for the game. When you think about when the bubble, he's there. They even Caldwell Pope, and he can knock it down. And that's what LeBron at his age, he's got to have shooters. He comes down, he's got to kick. That ball's got to go through the net, man. They can't be getting no long rebounds. He's trying to get back, play defense, go up and block it on this. Them days are over with. And then they come in, and I really think they let JJ Redick off the hook too easy when he was playing these guys with these mega minutes. And you can't bring a ball like Westbrook's ball dominant, Luca's ball dominant, and then when you sit around, then what's everybody doing? Everybody's sitting there looking. Jacob said like a 75-year-old choir director. It's just like you got 100-year-old choir members, right? Everybody's sitting on the choir, they just looking for the offering plate to go pass them by, because nobody's gonna do something, because they know that one, they're gonna bring the ball down, and then if they don't pass it, they're the ones gonna take the shot. So they got a lot of work to do, and you got to put shooters around LeBron if he stays.
And this is my thing too. When AD asked for a big man, why just go get the man a big man? It wasn't that hard. Y'all act like it was rocket science. The man asked for a big man and you trade him away a week later or 2 weeks later. That's what LeBron talked about. He said, shoot, I don't know what's going to happen with me because when AD asked for a big man, he got traded. So, you know what I'm saying? And you know what's funny? I look for little small crumbs, you know what I'm saying? And so my son said something about LeBron retiring. And I said, you know what? I said, he might just retire next year because this the breadcrumb. If this is true, he's supposed to. It's a rumor that he's supposed to opt in, or allegedly opt in for his last year. Normally, LeBron doesn't do that. Normally, LeBron tears up the contract, writes up a new 2 year deal, and then he does a 1-for-1. But if he actually opts in next year for that last year of his deal, then that might be a sign that he's saying I'm about to do my retirement tour. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
So,
Yeah.
speaking of what Coach Goins said about Roger Rondo, the perfect fit was you had Rondo, you had Dwight, you had McGee, and AD. You know what I mean? Because AD didn't have to play so hard on defense when you got those two big bodies, and
mm-hmm,
Rondo knew how to rotate the ball enough to make a shot easier for everybody. You know, players
Everybody.
didn't have to
Yep.
work so hard to get their shot off. And so,
Yes.
um, if Jenny Bus went out there trying to play, glamour girl of the Kobe's and the dynasties, she'll be paying more attention. And if Rob Palenka ain't think he was J.R. Ewing from Dallas, you know what I mean? Like, you get on my nerves, man. Just get on my nerves, man. Like, bro, like who would make Rob Palenka a GM, and then you got J.J. Redick, man. So, man, man, you might as well just pick somebody. You pick somebody random like that. At least somebody who got some coaching experience. So now you go get J.J. Redick. You know what I mean? I call him the Uno coach.
Mm.
You know what I
not
mean? Pick four. Draw two.
Boy, I can't take it. He's on it tonight. He's
Yeah, I
on, but
don't
yeah,
know.
but
He
he's
must be
he's on
practicing these all week. That's why he haven't talked to you yesterday because you've been writing down these jokes all week.
it.
You know what I'm saying? All right, before we keep going, I need to start doing this at the beginning of the show because people be in and out. But follow us on our YouTube page on our channel, also at 95 South Network, whatever. So definitely subscribe to our page on there at 95 South Network, and and this also in conjunction with 810 Studios, our Roku channel. So definitely that's our partners with this also. So I just wanted to throw that out there before we kept going or whatever. But anybody got any other topics before we get into these playoffs?
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. Pat
I
Riley,
go ahead,
Pat
go ahead,
Riley,
Jacob.
Pat Riley need to retire too. You know,
Oh, I've been said that.
because if you look at Pat Riley right there, one his eyes looking to the right, one looking to the left. And no, man, you can't do that, man. You can't watch the game correctly. You know what I mean? You think the game to the right, the game going forward, but you looking at the right of the bleachers. Just
I
saying, man.
can't take it.
Well, okay, Carl, you burning that tonight.
I tell you what,
Carl,
I can't. You know what?
you Jacob Matt.
I tell you what, but he's right. I mean, there's certain, there's certain time. There's just a time, man. There's a time that you got to be able to spend. It's almost like the boxing game. Yeah, how many times guys go out and they try to make a comeback, go out and try to make a comeback? Somebody needs to pull these guys' coattail and say, "We appreciate everything you done. It's time to turn over the. It's time to turn over the range." And I love the Uno with JJ Redick. Like I said earlier, these guys is just never coached, JV basketball, never coached high school basketball, and all of a sudden get a chance to sit in the big chair. I don't see why. I mean, it's and I don't want to use the word political, but it's a political move. And how do you
Mm-hmm.
get JJ Redick to slide in and be the coach of the Lakers? Is he a yes man, or pull the right trigger? So just wish him the best. But Jacob he's spot on everywhere, from the choir director all the way down to Gomer Pyle last week. He's just that's why he's Jacob the Great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. So, Icon, did you check on Spike Lee last week?
Oh, yeah, they had to put him in that same. I've been watching Final Destination, and they had to put him in that same nut house they put that white girl in when she went there when she almost lost her life. So they had to put him in that nut house for a minute because he was going crazy. So, but we'll see tonight. We'll see tonight. Anybody got the eyeballs on the game on the score right now?
I don't know, but I know when he showed up, he got that pinstripe suit on. I didn't know if he was trying to remake the movie with him and Denzel did the Mo Better Blues. Because when he stepped in the garden tonight with that suit on, I said, "Good Lord!" I'm pulling it up right now. Let's see what the score is. The Knicks, but well, you know what are you gonna do when you got no choice but to win that thing with your back against the wall? I mean, what are you gonna do besides come out and play the game? Right now, it's 50-36 with
The Knicks,
2 minutes to go in the second quarter.
the Knicks winning.
Yeah, Knicks are winning. Yeah, so
You said you
and
said
and that, that's
50,
that that's
50 to 36.
50-36 with 2 minutes and 56 seconds to go in the second
That,
quarter.
that, 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 that's
Oh.
that's 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 what we call NBA marketing. Come on, come on, come on,
Hey,
man.
yeah, you know why? Because okay, that's a good topic to have before we even actually get to the actual review of the games itself. So if it ends up being Indiana and the Minnesota, I mean OKC Thunder in the finals, yeah, I've seen a lot of posts saying that most people saying they not even going to be tuning in. It's going to be the most boringest NBA finals ever. And me, I'm like, once again, me and my son was talking last night, and I said, well, you're right, because a casual fan is not going to want to watch the headlines of Halliburton and Shea. Now, us that advocate, NBA basketball lovers and understand these players' roles and what they do and the star power that we're seeing in them, we'll watch.
Yep.
We're intrigued. But the average fan that watches casually, if they don't see a LeBron, they don't see a Steph, they don't see a KD, they don't see certain players, they're gonna be like, "What's this?" You know what I'm saying? So they're not gonna really want to be tuned in, and if especially not their favorite team. If it's not the Celtics or the Lakers or the Knicks or Philly or Miami or one of these big market teams, or you know what I'm saying, they're not gonna want to watch. You know what I mean? Or whatever. How many people in this world could really say they're OKC and a Minnesota fan? You know what I'm saying? You don't see too many people saying that. You
No.
know what I mean?
Man, when I think about
I mean,
Oklahoma,
OKC and Indiana. I'm sorry.
when I think about Oklahoma, I think about what happened at Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I definitely don't think about no OKC.
Yeah, you're right about that. You're right about that. You know what I mean? So, so basically, I'm gonna go ahead and start the review last night's game, and this is the thing. And I talked about this with Aunt Elvis, and it's very disturbing to me because even last night after the game, he's like, "Oh, I'm not really hurting about it or whatever. I'm more hurt for Mike Conley." And it's like, bruh, you supposed to hurt for yourself too. You supposed to be like, "This hurts bad. I'm doing everything this summer to get back in the lab. Y'all gonna see me better." Because I'm gonna tell you the difference between Ant and Shay. And I forgot who the commentator was that made this point. He said, you got to realize Shay is 26, Ant's 23. You can see the maturity in their game. Ant has two levels: 3-point shot, drive to the basket. I seen him play last night when he got open. He got in the open court, got down about 15 foot, could have pulled up for a 15, 20-foot jump shot. And I said, that's what he needs to develop. Because the thing about even with Jordan, when he first came in the league, was the exact same way. He was go to the basket. He wasn't even 3-point shot. He was go to the basket, and his mid range wasn't developed how it was later on his career. You know what I'm saying? The first few years, it was either I'm gonna dunk it on you or try to whatever I can. And if he would take that little 15, 20-foot jumper, it was iffy. You know what I'm saying? Until he developed that part of his game. And Jordan, they even said Jordan had talked to Ant, you know what I'm saying, on the side and said basically you need to develop this part of your game. And to me, I think he needs to take 1,000 15-foot to 20-foot jump shots all summer. Forget taking all them threes. Develop. You watch Shea can score at 3 levels. He can shoot that 20-footer. He got a floater. He can drive to the basket on you. If Ant develop all of that, watch how Minnesota goes to that next level.
Yeah.
It's exactly right. I mean, because when you look at it, I think that's just a young man's mentality. You know, because you're young, and I can just go and I can go up over the top of you. But you're exactly right. I mean, he's a kid trying to win in a man's game. He's a kid trying to, and I'm not saying anything, talent wise, but you look at his supporting cast. I mean, you got Rudy Gobert, and as Jacob called, he just you're not gonna win with Rudy Gobert. I'm sorry, you're not. You're just not going to win there. Now you talking about a center. They do need a center. I mean, and that's what the GM's got to go back in the lab. I'm going to call A Rod out. I know he's got some ownership there, but able to say, I want a legitimate center, and I want what, go after Giannis. Get him out of Milwaukee. Pay the guy and get him out of Milwaukee and bring him to Minnesota. Then we can have a different conversation.
You know
And
what? I never thought about that. Like we talked about all these teams, and yeah, I wish we was on ESPN. We had a show. This show's on ESPN right now because you be the first one to even make that mention of. I've heard that say where Giannis needs to go.
He needs to
Everybody trying
go.
to put him in San Antonio and Houston and everything else, but you the first. You dead on. You spot on with that because I'm gonna tell you like this. I think I told Jacob this offline. The thing about with Rudy Gobert, he's not even the right fit of a team. He needs to be on a team. Like, let's just say if he was, I'm just using everybody, oh, yeah, probably trying to put everybody on the Lakers. But if he was with the Lakers, that's the one thing they was missing was a big man. And he's a big, and it would have took the pressure off of, it would have took the burst, with the balloon would have burst. Because it would have took the pressure off of everybody. Because
Yep.
if you got him down in the paint and like Rudy, this all we ask you to do is block shots and rebound. Shoot, we ain't even asking you to score because you don't really do that anyway.
Thank
So
you.
all we asking you to do is rebound and block a few shots and we good.
We
You know what I'm
good.
saying? With
Yep.
Minnesota, they try to add, they need him to score and it's not what he does. You know what I'm
no,
Nope.
saying?
Nope.
So to me, he doesn't even fit there. That's why if you look at it when Cat was there, I actually think they would have had a better chance of getting to the finals with Cat than with Randall because Cat even Cat not being salt, but Cat filled the role that it was like if you had Cat and Rudy Gobert, it was like having a 2-for-1. It
Mm-hmm.
was like having the same person, and the
Yep.
one of them did this, and the other side did that. One of them, one half scored, and the other one, did the defensive stuff. But Randall is kind of up and down, and it was too easy to shut Randall down when the Thunder was. Well, they made it way too easy. They was like, okay, all we gotta do is double team you or swarm you, whatever. And if that 3-point shot ain't on, you a bull. You back to being that bull in the china shop again. And
Yep.
nothing you could really do. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So they kind of took it. They completely took Randall out the series.
they did, and then even though Julius Randle looked like he just got through running the chainsaw in a skid or something like that, man. He just ain't do nothing, bro. He just ain't do nothing, man. 4 points, as big as you is, man, you ain't do nothing. And then every time I see Rudy Gobert, man, I'm like, man, I know he ain't gonna do nothing, but I think he'll be good at beach volleyball.
Hey, but I will jump in here and say this. I think a lot of times teams are missing it. That you got to go into this with a three-headed attack. You got to be. I mean, you look back at the KD, Ray Allen, who Paul, the
Paul,
what was it?
Paul Pierce.
Yeah,
Paul
Paul
Pierce.
Pierce. Right. And then you look at Miami when they had Bosh and they had LeBron and they had Dwayne Wade. What's wrong? Because you can't expect to do that, and somebody's gonna have an off night. So just like Jacob and then Icon, you guys called it out. How are you expecting for if Ant can't get off, if Randall can't get off? I'm gonna look at Gobert and say, hey, you gotta give me 20 and 10. Are you mad? So what you got to do, you got to get your three-headed monster in
Hmm.
order to win this thing. You just have to. So, and then you sprinkle you some role guys in there, but you got to have three. You got to have three guys.
Well, see, the problem is now with the new apron system or whatever, you can't have a legit big three, meaning you can't have three max players like you had with Wade, Braun, and Bosh and all of that. You know what I'm saying? You can't have that anymore because it'll blow up your salary cap. And these owners, these cheap billionaire owners, don't want to play that apron price or whatever that goes over that mark, especially some of the smaller market teams. That's why you're gonna see teams this summer. You probably be surprised you start seeing teams this summer get rid of players. You're like, why are they trading away him? Because they know that that price tag is coming. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like I thought.
I don't really like that icon. I don't really like that, man. Like whoever want to play with each other should be able to play with each other. If you want to build a dynasty and a legacy with a team, I don't care about that, man.
You
It's
know, and
like
I'm
like
good.
like this right here. Excuse me. It really saddens me that we're not gonna get to see a finals that people want to see. We're not
Mm-hmm.
gonna get to see a finals that's gonna be highly televised, and the numbers gonna shoot through the roof, man. It's gonna compare with the Bulls finals, the Lakers finals, the Pistons finals, and even when San Antonio Lakers went against, like, people want to see games like that. Like, who's really going to see, because these owners is cheap, man. Like it makes no sense, man. Um,
Yeah,
just like like y'all speak about Giannis, man. Like, Giannis gonna go to a team that really need him, and it might be a team like like it might be Boston. We don't speak of Boston, but Boston gonna have to get rid of some of those players.
Mm-hmm.
You got Porzingis, you got Holiday, you got Jason Tatum, you got Brown, you got White. All those players make kind of big bucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So, what is Boston really gonna do after this season?
Yeah, and they talked about that. They talked about that. The Boston might have to go the Giannis route
mhm,
and get rid of like a Jalen Brown or somebody else because they salary cap is getting too big. You know what I'm saying? They can't keep all those players. I think Al Horford gonna have to go. Drew Holiday gonna probably have to go after this year. And I'm gonna say this about Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City has done a phenomenal job with Sam
yep,
Presti at the helm, but they did it kind of by accident. And what I mean by that is because nobody's going to Oklahoma City and play. You know what I'm saying? Like if you unless you get traded there, you're not
right.
signing there in the offseason. You know what I'm saying? Because if you ever been to Oklahoma, which I've been a million times, Oklahoma got one city, and that's Oklahoma City, and that's it. Everything else, you might as well just go ahead and just take you about a pills and just lay it and go to sleep. You know what I mean, or whatever. You like, I think everybody in there, I would be an alcoholic and probably on meth if I stayed in Oklahoma. You know what I'm
Hell
saying?
no.
So I'm just telling you. So it ain't nothing out there. So so at the end of the day, they had to be creative and say we got a homegrown. We got to draft, develop, and they've gotten blessed. I don't like to use lucky because I don't believe in the word
Yep,
lucky, but
yep,
they gotten blessed in getting players developed enough where they're good enough to be able to be like it's like a farm system in baseball. They
yep.
developed these players and they got good enough to be able to be on the level they're at. But just like everybody else, Oklahoma City bill gonna come due and Jalen Williams and Chet and all these guys on the bench or whatever, they're gonna have to start paying them guys or they're gonna have to let them go. So there's gonna be and everybody gonna say, oh, is Oklahoma City the next dynasty because they're the youngest team in the NBA? Nope.
Nope.
Because they're gonna have to start selling off players. Just like
But
Yeah,
everybody else.
it looked like that they ain't really paying nobody no big bucks. But if them guys win a championship, like you stated, if they win a championship together, a young team win a championship like that, cause we seen NFL, we seen teams win championship, and you be like, man, why they got rid of almost the whole secondary?
Mm-hmm.
Because those guys that produce want those big bucks, and
right.
they got guys that really produce, that really can go somewhere else and really get off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
OKC.
you don't think Jalen Williams about to get 40 million? Chet gonna get a probably 40, 35, gonna get 40 million, 50 million when it's when he up. They ain't gonna be able to pay all three of them. One of them gonna have to go. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? They're gonna be able to pay all of them 50.
And saying that's where you got to lean into that veteran and say, you know what? Are you all right? I go in the league first couple years, yeah, I'm hitting my payday, right? So I don't sign them 40, 50 million. As I get on the backside, if I got $100 million, what's $5 million gonna do for me? If I got 100 million. right?
Yeah.
So once I get my bank, then I'm gonna say, okay, Connie, I want to come over here and play with you, Jacob. Who you okay? Yeah, I can come in. I can come in and play with you. I don't have to sign no $40 million deal. I done made my money. I'm trying to get a legacy. I'm trying to win
Mm-hmm.
some championships. Now, if I win them championships, then I can lean into that endorsement arena and go after the bank that way. I mean, but to each his own. But I'm like, you know what? I don't want to. And I look back on the great players like Karl Malone, Charles Barkley, that never won a championship. You know that's tough sailing, man. And like these guys nowadays, and the money they making, sometimes well, look at Scottie Pippen, and I blame Jordan. Yeah, Jacob, I just called your man. I blame him for not setting the table up for his boy. How you gonna be there and you making all that money? You don't take care of your man that's getting you down the road. But that's a different show, different story.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
But
funny.
in Jordan defense, Scotty was offered a mega deal and
Well,
he turned it down a couple times.
well,
A
that, that
couple times.
that's when you got to have some wise counsel, and somebody's got to pull your coattail and say,
Yeah, yeah,
"Hey,
man.
man,
As big as his nose is, I think he had too much snot in it. He wasn't thinking straight. You know what I mean? So I don't know, bro.
Hey, it's funny. I said, you sure you hear about crazy stuff on the internet? And I seen something yesterday when they were talking about Michael Jordan, the reason why he signed his $40 million broadcasting deal or whatever, and I think he sold some stuff off or got some other deals is because he basically in debt. They're basically saying that he went from worth 3 billion to 1.5 billion. And I was like, well, that ain't really in debt, but I mean what you mean. But they were saying that bad investments and gambling debts, and he owe a lot of money. That's why all of a sudden he desperate for this new deal. Because even though I guess people looking at it as, and he already ruffling feathers. They already say he ruffling feathers talking about certain people. So I was just like, Lord have mercy. Like, I'm saying, how this gonna go?
I don't know how much I believe it on the internet. If we see it from a reliable source like an ESPN or a TMZ or somebody like that, I know. On the internet, everybody's a news reporter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Everybody
Tim
knows.
did talk about it, but Tim, I'm gonna tell you like this: TMZ will talk about it, ESPN won't,
won't
because
right."
ESPN they basically they LeBron. I mean well, both of them really, but they LeBron and Jordan's butt kisses. They not about to mess themselves up with LeBron or Jordan.
No,
Both of them
no.
gonna kiss they butt, especially the older heads on ESPN. Boy, I don't know, they dare not say nothing bad to get about Jordan. You know what I'm saying? At all. You know what I mean? They most people act like the Wizard years didn't even matter. They be like, Wizard years, he
It
played for
did.
the
It
Wizards?
did. It did. It did. It did. Not at
Played for the
all.
I,
Wizards?
what
It didn't. It didn't. You can't compare two years to playing with a team for 13, 14, 15 years.
See what I'm talking about? See what
What?
I'm talking about? See what I'm
What?
talking about? See what I'm talking about? No matter what, when you bring up the
It's
Wizard
like
years,
it's
everybody
like
act like it ain't happened.
it's
Yeah.
like Dale Earnhardt Jr. won all them championships, and then his last 2 years, he ain't win anything. He got knocked out early. So what is more memorable?
but you see
Ain't about memorable. Go ahead,
right,
coach.
but right, that's like what we were talking about earlier. That's when somebody got to go like tap you on the shoulder and throw you that towel and say it's time, right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
when you it's just walk away. Remember the good stuff. It's matter of fact, think about it. It's like when Karl Malone went to the Lakers, right? What's Karl Malone? What's he doing with the Lakers? Who can remember Karl Malone with a Laker uniform? Who can remember Gary Payton? It was just like the old bowl, right? It's
right.
a time to walk away, so people you don't look down at the end of your career and go, "Oh man, Jacob signed with the Cowboys when he was 52." Nobody's gonna remember that. Remember the
Right.
glory
You're
years.
right. You're right. You're right. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right, man.
Same
You
thing
absolutely
Shaq with
right.
Boston. Most
That,
people don't remember Shaq with Boston. With Shaq
what?
with Boston. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
he won't get, and that's why I try to tell people. I say you can tell when especially in the NBA is when you stop getting the call, it's time to go.
Yeah.
Right? When you don't get that call, like LeBron, every time LeBron go to the cup now, he all on the floor, he in the first row of the cheap seats. He may not get that call anymore. And when that start happening, somebody's telling you something, right? Because you
Yeah.
just don't get that call.
Because they get matter of fact,
I know for Mike, man, when I seen Mike on the Wizards sideline and he had both of his knees wrapped up in ice. I said, Mike, boy. But you need a wheelchair. You get your ass
Hey,
off the court,
and,
man.
and the crazy part about it, when Jordan, and people don't want to realize this, but when Jordan came back, and matter of fact, they might have showed it on the Last Dance. But when Jordan came back on his second stint, when he retired the first time, he came back, and they were saying something about, he came, it was a game, he wasn't getting any calls, and he went to the locker room after the game and he confronted the referees about it. And basically, they the rumor has it allegedly that they just told him, like, Mike, basically we told not to really give you the calls like that no more. You
See,
know what I mean?
that's
Like, in so certain words, because basically when he left that first time, they thought he was gone for good,
yep.
and the league has somewhat moved on. You know what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying? At that point, they was kind of trying to develop other names,
There you
and then
go.
Jordan decided to come back and it threw him off.
There you
You know what I'm
go.
saying? So the
Yeah,
thing
but
about no, huh?
a lot of people ain't gonna say this outcome. But when Jordan came back that second time, Jordan got beat up because he wasn't getting no calls. He got beat up,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah, yeah. So I think it was kind of almost like the league was like, bro, we thought you left. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Like I guess they got tired of being all just about him. And
Yep.
when he came back, it was like that envy like people was envious, and the referees wasn't giving Jordan, like you said, Jordan
That's
wasn't giving Jordan them same calls.
that's it.
So
That's
I think he probably realized that when he first came back when he in the '95 season, and he had to go develop that jump shot, because he was like, oh, I ain't getting these drive to the basket calls, so let me get this little fadeaway going. I ain't get my
that's
calls no more.
That's it. That's
You
it. I
know what I
mean,
mean?
and it's been that way for years. As soon as you don't get that whistle, somebody tell you something. You better
Mm-hmm.
pay attention
Yeah.
to it. Matter of fact, go back and watch the game footage. Be like, man, I got fouling to getting the call. Okay, so now what?
Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
man. So it's yeah, it's but it's a great game, and you hate to see those guys when they start hitting the twilight of their career.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
just grateful to see them play it and when they were at the pinnacle of their games.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And like I said, it's funny because I had seen something about KD getting traded to Oklahoma City, and I'm like, nah. And everybody in the whole time, I'm like, we don't want him back over here. No, no,
Mm-mm.
don't do that. You know what I mean? So
No,
I'm like, when your old team that you started with don't even want you back, you know
time to
it's
go.
time to go. You know
Time
what
to
I'm
roll it up.
saying? So I'm just like, but just to cover the game tonight, or well, this series tonight, because it looked like it may be over unless Indiana makes a comeback. But it don't surprise me. This series, last series, I knew it was over with. I knew last night it was going to be over in 5. After game 1, I had told my son, I told Jacob, because Jacob said, "Here you go." And I told Jacob after game 1, the series over. He said, "Boy, after game 1," I said, "Bro, I know what I'm looking at."
Oh
When I
yeah,
seen Oklahoma City and Minnesota and the difference, I said, "This is a big gap." And then, so in this series, I knew New York. Think about New York, Minnesota series, Indiana series. All the games been mad close. It's just been coming down to execution and stuff at the end of the game. So
yep.
I feel like this game could have went anywhere, either way. And I'm not surprised New York won, because there's so much energy in that building for them. And then Indiana, that turnaround game. Now, like you said the other night, coach, and I thought about this when I was watching the game. When you said, when you switch stadiums and you're sleeping in the hotel, and you're not eating good, you don't got your same routine, and the other team get to sleep in their own bed and play with the kids and sleep with the wife and all that. It's a whole different ball
It's a
game. You're
different
gonna come
ball
out with
game.
that fresh energy. And
Yep. Yep.
Indiana, they come off that win, and going into New York City, ain't no telling, they might have went out and partied the night before, who knows. And
That's
then
right.
try to come and play a game like that quickly on a turnaround. I,
Yeah,
I
It's
don't I
but
ain't
it's
surprised they
I
won.
just I just know when it's over and said and done, New York ain't gonna be in the finals. It's gonna be Indiana.
no
I put it to
because
you like this. I'm gonna tell y'all like this before we go. If Indiana, I'm gonna tell you what I look like already. I'm gonna tell you right now. Indiana and Thunder may go 6 or 7, because I think Indiana, for scoring wise, can keep up with them. Indiana, Thunder versus New York in 5. In 5.
mm,
You know what I'm
In
saying?
four, in
And
four, man.
I don't, I don't
not
think
not
New
not
York got a snowboard. The snowboard, they don't got a snowball chance in hell to beat the Thunder.
because
Man, no,
all right,
man.
let me give you this halftime score: 56-45, New York.
Oh, well, now,
The Knicks in trouble.
oh,
They in
you said the Knicks are up, or Indiana?
50, yeah, no, Knicks are up 56-45 halftime.
That's it. That, yeah. See, they closed
They
the
in
gap a
trouble.
little bit, so
They
that
they
might,
they in trouble. They in trouble.
yeah, that might
I,
make a
and let,
difference. That
I
might
ain't
make a
playing.
difference.
Listen, man. Your point guard can't hold the ball 17 seconds and 24 seconds on the shot clock.
You're right. You're right. You're right. But anyway, fellas, man, we had a great show tonight. Great energy. Me and Jacob got to get ready for our other show. So if y'all see us come back, it's a whole different show. So we be right back with y'all. You know what I'm saying? Peace and blessings, everybody. Everybody have a glorious weekend. You know what I'm saying? And see y'all on the next go.
All
I'm out.
right. Peace. Have a great night.
Peace.
Thanks, everybody.
Peace.
Yes, sir. Y'all be good. Be blessed.
Yes, sir. Always.